Sweet 16, great opportunity. Obviously, excited for our players, for our university, and obviously going to play a really good team. So we're again excited about the opportunity, and look forward to playing well and competing at the highest level.
How will this game test your team's toughness?
Well, anytime you play on the road, obviously it's not their home court, but it'll certainly be their home state and their home crowd. So I think anytime you play on the road and got people hollering against you, it can test you, and then you're playing against a great team, and it's a team that lives off of big runs. And so I think for us, the test is to try to eliminate certain things that they want to try to do, and realize that you're not going to eliminate all their runs. They're going to make runs. We've got to make runs, and so when you're playing these, playing UConn, you've got to realize there's a reason why they've won as many games as they've won in a row, and at the same time realize that, hey, we're here for a reason. We're pretty good too, and so we've got to go in and be who we are, execute, and try to put yourself in a position to be successful, and keep yourself out of those positions that can hinder you from being successful. And I think that's as important as anything.
As good as they are offensively, I think sometimes how good they are defensively gets kind of lost in the shuffle. I'm not sure how much you've actually looked at them at this point, but from what you know,
About 72 hours worth.
There you go. From what you know and have seen, how good are they on defense?
Yeah, they're really good. Their help line defense is really good. Their rotation is really good, and obviously you've got a player on their team that's blocked 404 shots. So when you've got a rim protector like that, it's important, and she impacts the game. Let's not forget, she's blocked 404. She's probably altered another 404, if not more. And all their guards are big guards. They're all big, long, and so I think they all impact the game defensively. So yeah, I think you're right. They probably don't. They may or may not get as much credit as they do offensively, because obviously they're really good there too. But they're really good defensively. I've noticed that as well.
When you go into a game against UConn, maybe not this team specifically, but maybe in general as a team, is there a mental hurdle to go into Connecticut against a team that has a winning streak and the titles and all that, to get over that even before you get in the gym?
Well, I just think you've got to go in there with a mindset of it's a basketball game. We've already played 35 of these. This will be game 36. We played a pretty good league ourselves, by the way, and we've played against some really good teams in our league, and we know how it was with those teams, and and I think that prepares you for this ball game. Certainly, this particular team has separated itself from everyone else in the country in terms of a winning streak, and hasn't lost a ball game in a while. But for us, you're going against a really good basketball team, and against these other really good basketball teams that we've played this year, we've talked about some of the same things. You got to limit your turnovers. You can't have turnovers in the wrong spot on the floor. You got to get back in transition defense. All those things are things that you've had to deal with most of the year. This team just happens to do it probably even a little bit better.
This program's taken some steps over the last few years, but how much is this a measuring stick game for your team, just how close they are?
Well, I mean, you're playing number one, so however you want to measure us against number one, you're going to get that opportunity on Saturday. And if one game is the measuring stick, then the game's going to be played Saturday. Obviously, they've got four senior All-Americans that are really good players. Again, I think what separates them, there's lots of teams across the country that have All-Americans on their team. I think what separates them is that Coach Ariema and his staff get the most out of their All-Americans. They get the most out of their players. They coach those kids in demand of them, and don't allow them to settle for anything but being the best they can be. And think that's what you get with those kids. So, you know, we understand that going in, and, you know, we know what's in front of us.
In terms of, sort of building to this point where the program is, talking to Dominique about it a minute ago, that there's a group of people who believed in you and are crucial to where you are now before you ever even coached the game here, with a group of juniors and then obviously senior and even people on the coaching staff. But what is it that sort of made those people want to buy into what you were planning to do here? That you had your vision, but they saw it too?
Well, I think it starts with trust, and then I think it goes back to, you know, I think we've done it before, you know, where we've been, the success we've had, our style of play, players that have played for us before that have gone and had great careers afterwards. So I think there's a little bit of all that, and then I think there's also the piece of once people come on visits, once people are around us, around me and my staff, they realize what you see is what you get. We're down to earth people. Not only am I a coach, I'm a parent, I'm a father, I'm a husband. You know, Johnny's a mother, and so it just I think they get a sense of trust with my staff and a real confidence with them. And then again, I think early when we were recruiting that first class, it was just the knowing that where we'd been, the success we'd had, and believing and trusting in a vision. And I think that's what we do. And you know, and so now once you bring it to fruition, now I think it really gives you credibility and gives your kids credibility too. So, and again, I've always bragged on our campus and our university. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place. And numerous times I've had people tell us, Coach, we just had no idea this was here.
You mentioned Johnny. I know you said before that you wouldn't come here if she wasn't coming with you. What makes her so important to what you do and what you're building?
She's just, she brings so much to the table, you know, from her ability in scouting and knowing what we want to do and how we want to do it from when we scout teams and how we want to guard them to, and her knowledge of the game, to the other piece, which is the mentoring piece. It's the role model that she provides these young ladies. It's the counseling and the mentoring. You know, she probably knows me as good as anybody, and you know, I feel like, you know, I know her. I think we have great chemistry, and we're always on the same page, and I think we're both highly motivated. You know, I think she's you talk about an attention to detail person, and again, just her vast knowledge and experience. She's thinking in 10 different areas, just like I am, and so I know she's always a step ahead in whatever we're dealing with, just like I'm trying to be a step or 2 steps ahead. So it's really a blessing. We're very fortunate to have Johnny here at Mississippi State.
I know another day one person. I'll stop going back through history in a minute here, but I know Marianne, I think, is a huge part in kind of keeping your head attached to the rest of your body in a lot of ways. What does she mean to you and to the team?
Well, you're exactly right, and she's kind of that person that's downhill. So everything that goes downhill, she gets, and it's she does a tremendous job, and again, everything handles it, not only our staff but our team, you know, the managers, our people that want to travel with us, our supporters, boosters, all that. She just has her hands in a little bit of everything, and again, attention to detail. She just doesn't miss anything. She knows exactly what I want and how I want it done, and she's the same way. You know, just a highly motivated perfectionist. And again, very fortunate and very blessed to have her here with us, because that's what it takes, especially in her role, is that perfectionist, and if nothing else, having that person in that role that knows what the head coach wants. And I think that's where she is really good. I mean, I'm up here till midnight last night. I think she walked out at 11:30. And so she just tremendous work ethic, like she was a player, you know.
How much would you characterize the first recruiting class that you guys brought in as the foundation for what you wanted?
It's exactly what it was. I mean, it changed the makeup of our team as far as the physical makeup. You know, Chenway and Bree with the SEC bodies. Katera, long, athletic, slender, can run. Dominique, that physical, tough, aggressive kid that you desperately needed to change a culture and bring that toughness to your team that you're really lacking, a competitive fire that you were lacking. And so there's no question that class was critical. And like I said, we had to sign them before they ever saw us play, because if they saw us play, they might not have come. You know, that first team, we weren't very good for a long time. And then toward the end of the year, you know, we did get good. We beat number 11 in the country. We got up and guarded them. We won 5 games in the SEC that year, y'all, and I didn't think we'd win one. I didn't know if we'd win 5 games the whole year. So, you know, that class was very, very important.
And then when you piggyback that with a class that includes the Gatorade Player of the Year, and obviously everybody knows the importance of protecting your own boundary, your borders, I mean,
Yep.
does that getting a player like Vivian, Victoria, a 5-star, does that elevate the legitimacy of your program in the sense that you're able to keep a player like that in state, not let her go to Kentucky or not let her go to Oxford, other places like that?
Yeah, well, Kentucky, Louisville, Florida, that's who we battled on her. And, you know, I just think that great players want to play with great players. Smart players realize they can't do it by themselves. And so it just gives you credibility to the rest of the country. Hey, the all-time leading scorer in the history of girls high school basketball plays at Mississippi State. And so I think that in and of itself speaks volumes to what we're doing and the trust factor and believing in a vision. And so the key is now we've stacked classes. The first class, the second class, and then the third class. You know, we stacked it back to back to back with some really good players. And so that's how you do it. You can't go have a good class and go 3 years and have a good class and go another 3-4 years and you can't do that. You're going to be like this. You know, you're going to go 28-7 and come down here and go 14-16, and you're going to go up here. Can't do it. If we're going to be what we want to be, which is a top 15 program, top 10 program, not team, program. Teams come and go, but a program that every year you look in the preseason top 20, you know they're going to be in that top 10, top 12 every year. If you're going to do that, you've got to stack classes. And so, you know, I think we've done that in our recruiting and been able to continue to do that. And so I think that's the key to any successful program in building it and maintaining it.
How much do you feel that you have a national recruiting reach now?
I don't think there's any doubt. I think we can walk in any gym in the country and people, number one, know my staff. And I think that's the first piece. But number two, then they respect the fact, hey, there's a Sweet 16 team, there's a top 10, top 12 basketball team in our gym. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
How much easier is it to recruit when you have 7,000 fans like you did last Sunday, and people were able to see that on national television? You talked about it being good for college basketball. Have you seen a response this year with what you've been able to do to the crowds?
Well, I think we will. I think that next class, you'll see it hopefully in that class, but I don't think there's any doubt. You know, even before this year, we were having some great crowds last year, and so, look, student athletes, players, recruits, they want to play in that environment. And let's face it, that environment does not exist most places. I mean, what we're doing here is top 15 in the country, attendance-wise. It does not exist most places. We just finished third in attendance for the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. Man, that's great. That's unbelievable. That's outstanding. And it ain't gonna change. We're doing it, our kids are doing it, and it will continue. Remember, this is how it started in the stores. That didn't used to be a destination, but it is now. And that's how it started. And so I think what we've been able to do is we're going to continue. It's not going to change. We're going to continue to recruit well. We're going to continue to draw. Our fan base continues to grow, and so I think kids across the country are seeing that. I know people across the country are seeing it. I mean, you're talking about referees are seeing it, going, where were you? Who is that on TV? I've refereed there 100 times. I've never seen, a fifth of those people at that game. I had a referee this year said, Vic, I'm retiring. This is my last game to referee in Starkville, Mississippi. And he said, I just want you to know, I've refereed here for 25, 30 years. I've never seen this many people here in all the times combined, that I've been here. I mean, people there are noticing. And, again, it's great for our game, but it's also great for our program and for this university.
You mentioned Stores. Back when they were building it, I think you can draw a lot of comparisons to the kind of players that he had on his first programs, in the sense that they weren't the biggest, fastest, quickest. They might have been the most gritty. They might have been the toughest. Per your experience, is that a good game plan for how to build a program, and not necessarily having the 4 or 5-star kids, but you get those kids who maybe have the same qualities that you have, and have them set the tone for what you hope to build?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think you're exactly right. When you first get here, it's hard to get anybody interested, a 5-star or 4-star interested. So you've got to build a program based on what? Based on your philosophy. So obviously we built those first couple of years around our philosophy, which was defense. Defense gave us a chance to win. It's what allowed us to win number 11 Georgia that first year. It's what allowed us to win 22 ball games and play 3 rounds into the NIT. So that was the foundation, and so you get players that fit your philosophy, and then after that, when you start winning, then you can start getting in on some of the other kids that might be a little bit better, more rounded skill-wise. And so, and then again, you get those kids that fit your philosophy and your personality. Those kids are going to work. You're going to develop those kids. They're going to expand their skill set and do some things that maybe somebody else didn't see in them. And so, absolutely, I think that's exactly what you do. And you win with defense early, and then, you go recruit. As you continue to recruit, you recruit a little bit better and a little bit more well-rounded athlete, basketball player, and go from there.
I know, Coach, you don't play UConn every year, but you do play Tennessee, South Carolina. Finally got over the Tennessee hurdle, but they're right back in the Sweet 16. And just talk about maybe using those past experiences, saying, everybody's right here.
Well, yeah, I'm really happy for Holly and Tennessee, and to see them in the Sweet 16. They're really talented, and we knew that, both times we played them. And again, I give our kids a lot of credit for being able to go in there and battle and compete and fight and win those ball games. So, but happy for them, and know they're going to be they're going to be a tough out. But I do believe in our conference. I do believe that it gets you ready for this situation. And so, again, we know we're playing a formidable opponent, Hall of Fame coach, all that. We got that. So we've just got to go try to be us, try to be comfortable, in our own way that we play, and realize we'll be in front of a bunch of people that are going to be screaming against us. But you know what? It's not the first time that we've been in that environment, and against a really good team. So. I'm anxious to see us play. I'm always anxious to see us in a different environment. I'm always anxious to see us in that next game after a ball game. Again, I was real disappointed, y'all, in the TV coverage of making a big deal out of that kid's foot being on the line. I'm going to defend the referee. The referee had no chance to see it because Michigan State had a kid laying on the ground right in front of her. She couldn't see it. But nobody mentioned that. They just wanted to make a big deal out of Kayla Nevitt's foot looking like it was touching the line down there. They didn't. But if you looked at the whole picture, Michigan State's got a kid laying right in front of her, between her and the referee. That referee had no chance to see that, and certainly nobody else could see it from where they were standing out on the. But You know, it's not fair to the game that was played. That game was a heck of a basketball game. And there was so many, I would challenge y'all, go find the last time a team won that gave up a 20-0 run in college basketball, men or women. There was a 20-0 run that happened against us, and we still won the game against a top 16 team. And that's a heck of a stat, y'all. And that speaks to the character, speaks to the toughness, the resilience, the competitive fire of our kids. You want to know what makes up our kids? That's what makes up our kids.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, praise the Lord and go Dogs.
Thank you.